The battlefield was silent now. Only smoke rose from the ground, and the sky was dark with ash. The war between the humans and the Zellari aliens had ended just hours ago. Bodies, both human and alien, lay scattered everywhere. The sand had turned red with blood. Among the dead and dying was a tall female Zellari warrior. Her armor was cracked, her breathing was weak. Her long silver hair was soaked in blood. Her legs were gone, blown off by a mine. She was alive, but just barely. No one came to help her. Her own people walked past her. Some looked at her and said nothing. Others whispered, "She's finished." Useless now. One Zellari soldier even spat near her. "You were once the pride of the Flame Legion," he said coldly. "Now look at you, pitiful." The female warrior tried to speak, but only blood came from her mouth. She couldn't move. She couldn't even scream. Then, footsteps. Human boots crunched the broken glass and metal on the ground. It was a human marine. Dirty, tired, and bleeding from his shoulder. He had a bandage around his head and a plasma rifle strapped to his back. His name was Logan Ward. He stopped when he saw her. The alien. The enemy. Her golden eyes stared at him, weak and dim. She expected him to kill her or walk away like the others did. But Logan didn't move. He looked around. No one else was nearby. The battle was over, and soldiers had already gone back to their camps. She was truly alone. He stepped closer, slowly. She tried to lift her arm to stop him, but it fell back, too heavy. "Don't touch me," she whispered, her voice dry like dust. Logan knelt beside her. "I'm not here to hurt you. You're human," she said. "I don't need your pity." He looked at her legs, what was left of them. His face didn't change, but something in his eyes showed pain. Not for himself, but for her. "I've seen men left behind," Logan said softly. "Dying, calling out for help. No one came for them." The alien looked away. "I don't want your help." "I know," he said, "but I'm not leaving." He pulled out a small med kit from his pack. She tried to push it away weakly, but he ignored her. Gently, he cleaned the wounds and sprayed a freezing foam to stop the bleeding. It wasn't much, but it could save her life. "You're wasting your supplies," she whispered. "Why?" Logan didn't answer right away. Instead he said, "What's your name?" She stayed silent. "Fine," he said. "I'll call you Valkyrie then. Fitting name for someone who fell from the sky." She gave a weak smile, just a tiny twitch at the corner of her mouth. "You're strange, for a human," he chuckled. "And you're proud for someone who's half dead." The wind blew, carrying the smell of fire and metal. Somewhere in the distance, an explosion echoed. "We need to move before night falls," Logan said, looking around. "Scavengers will come, both kinds." "I can't walk," she reminded him. "I noticed," he said dryly. Then he slid his rifle to his back and began cutting straps from his own armor. Using them, he built a makeshift sling. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Carrying you." She stared at him. "You'll die." "Maybe," he said. "But you'll die for sure." "If I don't." She looked at him, long and hard. His face was dirty. He had cuts across his cheek. His hands were shaking slightly from pain and exhaustion. But still, he reached for her carefully, lifting her onto his back like a wounded comrade. As he stood, she whispered near his ear, "My name is Kalara," he smiled. "Nice to meet you, Kalara." And with that, the human marine walked into the burning ruins, carrying the broken alien warrior on his back. No orders. No rewards. Just a choice. A choice to save the one everyone else left to die. Kalara opened her eyes to the soft crackle of fire. The smell of smoke, dirt, and blood still filled the air. But now there was something else: warmth. Not from the sun, but from a small fire burning nearby. She was alive. Her body ached. Her throat was dry. And worst of all, her legs were gone. She remembered everything: the blast, The battlefield, her own soldiers walking past her. But now, she was lying on a piece of human military cloth, covered in a torn survival blanket. A helmet placed beside her, not hers. And then she saw him, the human. Logan Ward was sitting just a few steps away, turning a small stick in the fire. He looked tired, his head was down, and his arms had fresh bandages, but he was watching something cook over the flames. Some kind of wild root or creature. He had been busy. Her golden eyes narrowed. Why am I still alive? She croaked. He turned. Slightly. You're welcome, he replied, not looking at her. She tried to move, but pain exploded in her body. Her arm barely lifted an inch before it dropped. She growled, low and sharp like a wild beast. I didn't ask you to save me, human. Logan kindly replied, no, but I didn't ask permission either. Kalara gritted her teeth. Her pride burned hotter than the fire. I was ready to die. A warrior dies in battle, not like this. Logan stood and walked over. He crouched beside her, offering her a small cup of water. You can die later, he said simply. Right now, drink. She slapped the cup, or at least tried to. Her hand only brushed it weakly. The cup wobbled, but he caught it before it spilled. Her hand dropped like a stone. She stared at it in disbelief. She was strong once, one of the most feared Zalari warriors. Her fists had crushed helmets. Her blade had killed 10 men in seconds. And now she couldn't even knock over a cup. Logan gently placed the cup to her lips. At first, she turned her face. Then, she gave in. Just a few sips. It was like fire and ice at once. The water was slightly bitter, but life returned to her throat. Why? She asked again, softer this time. Why would a human carry an enemy on his back through a war zone? He sat back down, still watching her. The firelight danced in his tired eyes. You weren't an enemy when you were bleeding out alone, he said. You were just someone. Abandoned, same as I've seen too many times. She stared at him. So what now? She asked bitterly. You save me, then turn me in for reward, or maybe keep me as some pet? Logan raised an eyebrow. Pet? You bit at me in your sleep. And cursed in 5 alien languages. Not really house-trained. For a second, just a second, her lips twitched, but her voice stayed sharp. You're mocking me, he shrugged. You're alive. That's step 1. Step 2, I find something to move you with. I can't carry you forever. I'm slowing you down. Yep, he replied honestly. But I've slowed down before. Didn't kill me. She looked up at the sky. Ash clouds still floated like ghosts. The world felt empty. How far are we from your base? She asked. I'm not going to my base, he said. That surprised her. Then where? Anywhere safe. Her voice dropped. There's no such place anymore. Logan stared into the fire. Maybe not. But I'd rather die trying to reach it than let you die here like garbage. She went quiet. She didn't know this man. She didn't even understand his logic. Humans were supposed to be selfish, cruel, weak. But this one ... This one was confusing. Logan stood again. Rest. I'll be back before night. Don't die while I'm gone. It ruined my day. As he walked toward the wreckage of a nearby ship, Kalara watched his back. She wanted to hate him, but all she could feel was confusion. And a strange warmth in her chest. The sky cracked open with a deep roar. Dark clouds rolled above like angry beasts. Lightning flashed, turning the desert ruins into a ghost world. A storm was coming fast, wild, and deadly. Logan Ward pulled a broken panel from a ruined drop. Ship. He winced as metal scraped his shoulder wound. But he didn't stop. His hands were dirty, bloody, but focused. He needed to build something, anything to carry Kalara before the storm hit. Behind him, under a half-destroyed wing, Kalara lay wrapped in a thermal blanket. Her eyes followed him silently. The wind picked up, blowing ash and sand in. Every direction. The battlefield was no longer quiet, it howled. "You're going to get yourself killed, human," she said over the wind. He didn't answer. Instead, he dragged 2 more scrap poles toward the ship wing, tying them with torn cables. Slowly, a shape was forming a rough sled. Kalara narrowed her eyes. "You're building a drag sled?" Logan finally looked up, hair blown wild by the storm wind. "Yeah, you think I'd leave you behind?" She frowned. "I would've if I were you." He smiled dryly. "Good thing you're not me." The wind roared louder. A few minutes later, Logan lifted her carefully onto the sled. The moment her weight shifted onto it, the structure groaned but held. Then, a strange sound, Kalara's ears twitched. "What is that?" she asked. Logan paused. In the distance, over the wind. Clicking. Rhythmic, fast, getting closer. Then Kalara's eyes widened. "Scavengers." Logan's jaw clenched. "How many?" She closed her eyes and listened. 4. Maybe 5. Fast ones. Logan grabbed his rifle and scanned the darkness. From behind the burnt trees, shadows moved, tall, thin creatures with glowing blue eyes and metal limbs. Not from her army. Not from his. These were Death Feeders, creatures that hunted only the wounded. "Guess we're not alone anymore," Logan muttered. Kalara grabbed a sharp piece of metal beside her. "Leave me. Take the sled. You might outrun them." Logan didn't even blink. Not happening. The scavengers shrieked as they ran, sharp claws scraping the stones. Logan aimed his rifle. "Hold on to something." Kalara gave a dry laugh. "I don't even have legs, remember?" "Right," Logan muttered. "Then just don't die." He fired. The first creature went down with a burning hole through its chest. The others screeched and scattered, then circled. They were smart, hunting in a pack. Kalara watched, heart pounding. Logan kept shooting, but the rifle clicked. "Empty, no more shots," he shouted. One of the creatures lunged. Kalara threw her sharp scrap, hitting it straight in the throat. It collapsed, twitching. Logan looked back. "Nice throw," she smirked. "Still got aim." 2 more came charging from the side. Logan swung a pipe and cracked one's skull, but the other slashed his leg with its claw. Blood sprayed. He fell hard, gritting his teeth, but grabbed the creature and slammed it to the ground with all his strength. Silence. All scavengers dead. Logan panted, his leg bleeding badly. He crawled back to the sled. Kalara stared at him. "You're insane." "Yeah," he said, groaning. "And you're heavy." She chuckled. Then suddenly a flash of light behind them. Not lightning. A red beam scanned the ground. Kalara's smile vanished. "Drones. Enemy search drones." Logan's head snapped up. "Yours?" "No," she said. "Worse." A red laser marked the ground near them. They had been seen. Kalara grabbed Logan's arm. "Run." He started dragging the sled, blood trailing behind him. The storm finally broke the sky, pouring cold rain, washing away the blood, but not the fear. They didn't stop. Even as thunder crashed and drones screamed through the sky above, Logan kept pulling, step by painful step, dragging the warrior who once would have killed him, and now fought beside him. They didn't speak again that night, but both understood something unspoken. Survival was no longer about species. It was about trust. And trust had just begun to grow in the middle of war and storm. Rain tapped gently against the metal roof. It was an old supply shelter, half buried in dirt and forgotten by both armies. Logan had found it during the storm and dragged Kalara inside, just before the drones could lock onto them. Now, the fire inside crackled softly. The wind howled outside, but the shelter held. Kalara stared at the ceiling, her silver hair messy and her body covered in bandages. Her blanket had slipped off one shoulder, revealing deep scars. Her lower body was wrapped tightly, empty, where her legs once were. She turned her head away when Logan looked at her. She didn't want pity. She didn't want to be seen at all. He placed a hot cup of broth near her. "Eat." "I'm not hungry," she said flatly. "You haven't eaten." "In 2 days." "I don't deserve to," she whispered. Logan sat on the floor, back against the cold wall. He didn't argue. He just stared into the fire. Kaylara finally broke the silence. "Do you know what I was before this?" He looked at her butt. Said nothing. "I was the Flame Legion's lead warrior. A general. I led thousands into battle. My name made enemies run." Her voice cracked. "Now I can't even sit up without help. I can't walk. I can't fight. I'm just a body, a broken body." Logan didn't interrupt. She continued, voice rising with anger. "You should have left me. You should have let me die in the dirt like my own people did." He finally spoke quiet but firm. "But I didn't." She turned her face toward him, eyes burning. "Why? What do you want from me, human? Loyalty? Gratitude? A pet alien at your feet?" Logan shook his head slowly. "I don't want anything from you." "Then why?" She asked again, this time not with rage but with pain. Real pain. Why save something useless? He sighed and leaned forward, feeding the fire with another stick. "When I was a kid," he said, "my dog was hit by a car. Everyone told me to let him go. They said he couldn't run anymore, couldn't play, that he'd suffer." He paused. "But I carried him home. Every day. For weeks. Until one day, he dragged himself up with his front legs and learned to move again. Slower, but alive." Kaylara blinked. "Are you comparing me to a dog?" Logan gave her a small smile. "No, I'm saying I've seen strength where others only saw weakness, and I see it in you." Her throat tightened. She looked away again. Logan stood and walked to a pile of scavenged tech. He picked up some parts, wires, braces, old servos, and placed them on the table beside her. "What's this?" she asked. "Step 1, he said. "We build you new legs." Kaylara stared at the pieces, then at him. "You're not an engineer." "Nope," he admitted. "But I'm good at fixing broken things." She looked down at her body, then whispered, "Some things stay broken, no matter what you do." He moved closer, sat beside her, and said softly, "Then I'll carry you until you prove yourself wrong." Silence filled the room again, but this time, it wasn't empty. It was hopeful. She closed her eyes and let out a shaky breath. "If you're wrong, this might kill us both." Logan leaned his head back against the wall and smiled. "Then we die building something instead of running from nothing." Kaylara finally reached for the broth, her hand trembling as she lifted it. Logan didn't smile. He didn't smiting again, not with weapons, but with will. And that was more than enough. The wind was calm for once. Kaylara sat upright for the first time in days, propped up against the wall of the shelter. A crude brace held her back straight. Logan was outside, welding something with a broken torch, what might one day become. Her legs inside. Kaylara's fingers traced the rough wires Logan had wrapped around the metal supports. They were ugly, heavy, primitive, but they were hers. Suddenly she heard it, a hiss, soft at first, then sharper, like a whisper cutting through the silence. Her warrior instincts kicked in instantly. She reached for the makeshift spear Logan had left beside her. Her muscles still burned, but she had enough strength now to lift it. She wasn't alone anymore. The door of the shelter creaked. Then it opened. Kaylara froze. There, standing tall in black and red armor, were 3 Zalari warriors, her own kind, the one in front removed. His helmet. His cold purple eyes met hers without a flicker of emotion. "Kaylara," he said flatly. "Still alive?" She didn't answer. "You were ordered to die with honor," he continued. "But instead, you crawled behind human garbage." Another soldier stepped forward, aiming his weapon lazily at her. "You bring shame to the Flame Legion. You know what we've come for." Kaylara tightened her grip on the spear. "I don't need a reminder." The first warrior tilted his head. We didn't want to do this, sister. But mercy ends when pride is lost. Before they could move closer, Logan's voice rang out behind them. Back off. All three turned around. Logan stood with his rifle raised. His body was covered in dust and sparks. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in days, but there was no fear in his eyes. One of the Zilari laughed. The human. The nurse. What will? You do? Cry us to death? Kalara spoke sharply. Don't mock him. The lead warrior looked back at her. He's poisoned your mind. No, she said coldly. He reminded me who I was. There was a long silence. Then the lead warrior raised his weapon. We end this now. Kalara acted first. With all her remaining strength, she hurled the spear straight into the second soldier's chest. He collapsed, choking on his own breath. The others moved fast, so did Logan. Blaster fire exploded inside the shelter. Sparks rained down. The walls shook with every shot. Kalara rolled to the side, dragging herself with her arms. Her heart pounded like a war drum. She couldn't fight like before, but she could still fight. Logan took a hit to the shoulder and stumbled. The last Zilari charged, blade raised. Kalara screamed, "Logan!" She threw herself forward, not to fight, but to block the strike. The blade slashed across her side. But it gave Logan enough time to shoot. The final soldier dropped to the floor. Silent. Smoke filled the shelter. The battle was over in seconds. Logan dropped beside Kalara, grabbing her hand. Stay with me, you're bleeding. She gasped, blood seeping through her side, but she didn't cry. Instead, she smiled. They came to end me, she whispered, but I chose how I stood. He pressed cloth against her wound. You didn't stand. You jumped in front of a sword. She gave a weak laugh. Warrior's instinct. He looked at her, eyes filled with something heavier than pity. Respect. You saved my life, he sighed. Kalara looked into his eyes. And you gave me mine back. Outside, the wind picked up again. But inside that shelter, something stronger than war was being built. Not from steel. Not from survival. But from loyalty, and maybe something deeper. Rain had stopped. The world outside was still broken, but inside the small shelter, something new was being born. Kalara sat silently as Logan knelt before her, carefully tightening the straps of the crude mechanical legs he had built from scrap metal, old hydraulics, and pieces of war machines that once tried to kill them. Both the legs didn't look like much, uneven, bulky, noisy. But to her, they were more than metal. They were a second chance. I can't believe I'm doing this, she muttered. Logan grinned as he adjusted a loose wire. I can. You're too stubborn to die. Kalara gave a small smirk, but her hands trembled. She was afraid. The warrior who once led 1,000 soldiers was afraid to stand. Logan saw it. He didn't say anything at first. Then, softly, he said, "Falling is part of walking." She nodded once, then reached out her arm. He gripped it. Together, they pulled her upright. The metal legs hissed, creaked, and groaned under her weight. For a moment, everything shook. Her hands gripped his shoulders tight. She was standing. For the first time since the explosion, Kalara wasn't lying in the dirt like broken armor. She was on her feet. Barely. But it was enough. Her voice was shaky. They feel like stones tied to fire, Logan chuckled. That's a compliment coming from you. She took a deep breath. Then a step. The left leg jerked forward, but the right one didn't follow. She lost balance, and Logan quickly caught her before she crashed. She growled in frustration. They don't move when I command them. There. Not your legs, Logan said calmly. Not yet. You have to teach them. Like training a beast. I trained beasts before, she muttered. Then do it again. She took another breath. And tried again. Left, right, fall. Logan helped her up. Again. Left, right, fall. Again. Sweat ran down her brow. Her hands were blistered from gripping the support beams. But she refused to stop. Logan watched quietly, only stepping in when needed. He didn't cheer. He didn't pity her. He respected her. After an hour of tries, Kaylara finally made it from one side of the shelter to the other. 5 steps, then 6, then 8. Her breath was ragged. Her body shook, but her eyes. Her eyes were alive. She turned and looked at Logan, standing across the shelter. "No more crawling," she said. He nodded. "You walked like a dying lizard, but a walking one." They both laughed. In that moment, there were no humans, no aliens, no war, no past, only two survivors. One learning to stand again, the other learning how to let someone else rise. Outside, the sky began to clear. Light broke through the clouds for the first time in days. Kaylara stepped toward the door. Shaky but standing, Logan raised an eyebrow. "Where are you going?" She looked over her shoulder to find out if the world is ready for me again. Logan grinned. "And if it isn't," she smirked, "then the world better start running." Dust swirled in the wind. Kaylara stood at the edge of the broken valley, her new mechanical legs hissing with each breath she took. The sun was rising behind her, casting a golden glow over the ruins. She had come back to the same battlefield, where she lost her legs, but now she was not crawling. She was not waiting to die. She had returned standing. Beside her stood Logan, his rifle slung across his back. His wounds had healed, mostly, but his eyes still carried the fire of a man who had seen too much and chosen to keep going anyway. Kaylara looked down at the smoking field where her own people once left her to rot. "They never expected me to walk again," she said. Logan nodded. "They definitely didn't expect you to walk toward them." A silent ship hovered low in the distance. Not a warship, an extraction vessel. The remaining Flame Legion commanders were waiting inside. They had heard rumors of a human carrying a broken Zalari warrior through storms and drone patrols. Rumors of a woman who stood again. Kaylara marched forward slow, steady, every step louder than the one before. When she reached the landing ramp, the guards at the ship raised their rifles. The lead officer stepped out. His face was pale. "Kale !era ... You're alive." She stopped just feet away. "And walking." He forced a small smile. "You should have stayed gone. You are no longer fit for command." Kaylara tilted her head. "I am more fit now than I ever was." "You're broken," the officer hissed. "No," she said calmly. "I was broken when I believed that strength meant walking alone." She turned her head slightly enough for the officer to see Logan standing behind her. The officer sneered. "You walked with a human? You disgrace us all." Kaylara stepped forward again, now face to face. "No, I honored what our kind forgot: loyalty, mercy, the will to rebuild. You'll be punished for this." "No," she said, lifting her chin. "You'll be remembered for what you did to your own." With that, she reached into her belt and tossed something at his feet. A broken flame insignia. Her old rank badge. "I don't need this to lead anymore." Then, without a word, she turned her back on them and walked away. No one dared stop her. Later, in the quiet hills beyond the battlefield, Kaylara and Logan sat watching the sun set. Her legs clicked with soft whirs, but she didn't seem to mind. "So what now?" Logan asked. She smiled faintly. "We keep walking. Toward where?" "Where warriors like us don't get abandoned." He chuckled. "That place exist?" She looked at him. "If it doesn't," she said, "then we'll build it." They sat together in silence, not as alien and human, but as survivors, fighters, and maybe something more. Far behind them, the winds of war still blew, but ahead, only the unknown, and this time they would face it together.